What are the rules that we can break? How do we do things so differently? How does everybody else do this thing, like deliver this service? And how do we flip that model on its head, like flip it upside down and do it so differently and break all the rules that we rise above the noise?
Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to Season 4 of Legacy's Journey, where we talk about creating what outlives you. I'm your host, Cameron Williams, owner of Kinley Consulting, where we focus on strategic financial growth for marketing agencies and businesses so that they can live the dream life they deserve and not be a slave to their business. And we do that through CFO services and consulting. Now, this is Season 4, where we're focusing on companies who have bought, who have sold, who are scaling, or just overall excelling, right? That's the theme. So, in this case, you can't have everybody on here. So I had to really kind of rack my brain and think, okay, who can I bring on that I know that's really just killing it right now? And there's this person, we're in two different groups together. And every time I talk to them, they're always doing something amazing, something I've never heard of. They got some big deal that they're working on. And they're like, we need the prayers because this can be life changing. And so I was like, why don't I just get them to come to the podcast? That was my thought. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Tonya is here. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Cameron. Thanks for having me.
All right, so you got to tell the people because they may not know you like I do. So tell them name of the company, and a brief overall, what do you do?
Yeah, sure. So Tonya Turrell, I'm the founder and CEO of technologymatch.com. We actually just rebranded this year from the Launchpad because we started off as a B2B technology lead generation provider, an agency. And then earlier this year, we launched a SaaS platform, a marketplace connecting tech buyers to tech sellers.
And so see this, she knows all about people who buy companies and people who sell, what they're looking for, what are the characteristics that make them match. See, that's her thing. That's why I said, who better? Who better? Okay.
Yeah, and the whole premise of the platform really was to drive authentic connections, right? Like I'm in a space that is so smoke and mirrors, so bait and switch. Um, Tech companies, they get budgets for lead generation. They know they have to do it, but it's sort of a necessary evil. They have a bad taste in their mouth from past experiences. They maybe don't believe it works. And so I've been in the space 25 years. And I wanted to create something where it doesn't have to be, we don't have to create demand. Demand naturally exists in the market. So what if we just serve IT leaders and help them match to the right vendors? Because that's inherently a better, more closable lead. And so that it really is our model, is we play matchmaker between IT leaders who need technology and then the vetted technology partners in our marketplace that are a precise fit for the IT buyers while eliminating noise. So we serve the IT leader versus the tech company, but by virtue of doing that, the tech company is better served.
Y'all heard it. Now, let's go there because to your point, right? SaaS is this IT's been a thing for a good minute. We'll say 2000s. You've been in it, like you said, 25 years. But now we have kind of SaaS coming in, trying to creep in. And you got some people that probably, hey, I got my own SaaS. And maybe they're their first 10 users. We're not talking about these people. We're talking about people who are established, who have something hot that people are joining. So can you give us an idea of some of the common, I guess, good things that the newer companies that are coming to you guys are doing?
I mean, the hottest thing right now, right, that everybody wants to talk about, that everybody is entertaining or doing pilots around and figuring out how to put it into production, is AI. So AI everything. And that impacts, it impacts every area of IT, but it impacts every area of the business too. So there are some really cool things that companies are doing with AI. And it's really fun to be on the front lines of that. And we're doing it internally as well. Well, you know that we're in an AI mastermind together.
Yep. Okay, so let's take that a step further. Okay, So comparing companies prior to AI like really taking off, what are some of the, let's say, biggest things you've seen change? So like maybe 5 years ago, Cameron, everybody's focusing on like these two or three things versus now because of AI, that's changed and you need to be paying attention to.
Yeah. So 5 years ago, 2020, everybody remembers that. We were right smack in the middle of lockdown about this time 5 years ago. What enterprise, like businesses, our customers were really focused on was just weathering that storm. We were talking to IT leaders who were freaking out about how do I convert 35,000 employees to a work from home model now, like right now. How do I source laptops, 30,000 laptops amid a supply chain disruption, and everything's on back order? And so and we actually launched this business in 2020. So we were playing matchmaker. We started 6 weeks before lockdown. So we were playing matchmaker during that crisis, and we were hearing a lot of things like we've got to move everything to the cloud. We had an initiative to move to the cloud last year. I wish we had done it. They're banging their heads on the wall because they didn't. So there was this huge push for remote work and then ultimately hybrid work models and all the things that go along with that, from the hardware and the equipment to the endpoint security and cybersecurity and the software and tools to accomplish whatever it is that they were, whatever their business is. Today, I think the biggest shift is, 5 years later, the last 2 years, AI has really been ramping up. There's been a ton of automation initiatives, streamlining and automating repetitive manual workflows, freeing up human resources for more creative tasks or more innovation. And now, we're in an age of AI where we've hit that tipping point with agentic AI, where I think business leaders are really thinking creatively about how to leverage AI agents and, build, deploy, and orchestrate them across the business to really reimagine how they do work. Like for us, what we're focused on internally, because we generate leads for sales reps at tech companies, we've in a beta with a sales enablement AI that teaches the sales reps to serve and sell better so that they're converting our leads at a higher rate. So that's in beta right now. But what's next for us is we have a heavy services component because we started as an agency. So we've got the marketplace, the matchmaking SaaS marketplace, connecting buyers to sellers. And that launched in January. So it's good. It's growing rapidly. But we still have a book of business that relies on those human services. So and not only that, the marketplace, we can't control what part of the funnel a lead comes in, right? So an IT buyer may come in like further up the funnel and not be ready to make a purchase decision in the next 3 months or so. Maybe they're a year out and they're investigating. Our clients either don't have the bandwidth or the desire to work those leads until they hit the bottom of the funnel. So we're still very heavy services because our clients rely on those services. And it actually makes the SaaS part stickier. So we offer these services, but they're not scalable. My team, a lot of them I've worked with through multiple companies. This is my third business. I exited the last one 10 years ago. When I started this 5 years ago, a lot of my team came over, and which is beautiful, but we've hit a ceiling. Like it's just not scalable. They've got 10, 15, 20 plus years experience doing this job. I can't hire for that at scale. And I can't train for that unless I have a decade to give somebody. And so what's really exciting about what we're doing with the AI is we're training AI on our team's frameworks and how they go about those dialogues to serve an IT leader, whatever their needs are. They actually have like 100+ page branching call guide. So no matter where the conversation goes, they can go into that bucket of opportunity. Like if someone says, we're addressing I don't know, AI, like HR agents with AI, then they would go into that bucket of questions and ask that question. But they're also well versed if somebody's doing, I don't know, robotic process automation, they could go to the call guide in that bucket of questions. So they've got this massive call guide and just, they're just an elite, super skilled team, which is beautiful because we can deliver an amazing service, but we just can't scale past it. So AI is now enabling us to scale our team. And so AI agents will be able to do their job. And, the truth is we've been building software for the last 5 years, and our team, we're bootstrapped. It's really what our agency team has done that's allowed us to fund the development. And there's so much pressure on them to perform, and they work so hard. And so what AI is going to do is like give them some breathing space where we can move to 4-day work weeks and then 3-day work weeks, because we've got teams of AI doing what they do now. And, it's going to free them up for creativity or to move into other roles in our company. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're seeing is like this tipping point where we're heading into AI agents and what that unlocks for our business and our customers' businesses.
See, told y'all. All right, let me go back to the notes because I'm taking notes. Okay, she said a lot here. AI agents are coming, but hopefully they're helping you to be more efficient and giving you time back. I thought this was super interesting because I think you're the first person I've ever heard that has said this about is she can't really scale too much because her team has so much experience in what they do that to find another unicorn like that would mean either she got to do like 10 years of training in as fast as possible or she don't know. Now let's talk about this one. You said this is your third business, which means you've had at least 2 exits. Talk to us about kind of like what that was, because I think everybody always thinks like when I sell my business, it's going to be awesome. It's just the best thing in the world. I'm going to make, $50 million. And that's not always the case. There are always some type of bumps and hurdles. So like walk us through what those processes were like for you.
Okay. Well, the first business, yeah, it was an exit, not a good one. It was a bankruptcy. It was an absolute failure. I started my first business. I was young. I was 29. And we launched really big, really fast because we won a big AOL deal. So my first business really, we had pretty much unlimited seats on this AOL deal. And this is really dating me. This is back in the day when Google search was not what it is today. And people were moving from, remember those big, thick yellow pages that we used as booster seats as kids? So they were moving from physical yellow pages to online yellow pages, internet yellow pages. And so we were the sales channel selling to local merchants, those IYP, internet yellow page ads for AOL. So that's what launched our business. So we went from, 2 of us, my husband and myself, to 108 employees overnight. AOL shut down a member services facility and gave us the opportunity to hire the 250 agents they were going to fire, and we hired about half of them. So, we had a really good run at that, but AOL sold that product off. We diversified the business, but had to downsize. And then I was just young and naive. One client was about 80% of our revenue, and they got a new marketing leader who had her own vendors that she worked with, and we were sort of cut out of the equation. So overnight, we were done. We were out of business. Which, in hindsight was a really good thing because I learned so much. I learned more from that than probably anything else over the course of the last 25 years.
That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Lots of learning. And that was a tough business. We were cold calling.
Oh.
Yeah. It was soul sucking work. So we really had the opportunity to shed that business. So that was a massive, spectacular failure.
I mean, it was, but I think to your point though, because I know we talk a lot with our clients about that too, about diversification is important because, like you said, I got 80% of my revenue coming from this one person. So if anything happens to them, if my 20% is not substantial enough to be
Yeah,
able to
you're
cover
toast.
payroll at the least in our tech, then there's a problem there. Because even in our case, we've had some people like, oh, I love this rev share model. I'm like, yeah, but what
Yeah.
if something happens? So I think
Yeah.
that's a great lesson that I know you've taken with you. But I think
Yes.
for the listener, like, keep that in mind. It's cool to have a big whale or whatever we call them nowadays client, but make sure you have some that just
Yeah.
in case something happens, you're
You
still
don't want one
financially.
client to be more than like 10, 20% of
Yeah.
your business
Right.
top,
So I think
right?
that's a great lesson. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm ready
huge
for the second
lesson.
company.
Second company, so that company, we laid off, most of our staff, and then we shut that business down on a Friday. We launched a new business on a Monday with our top performers. So we kept like our 6 top performers, and we had to innovate. We told our clients we were rebranding. Our clients never even knew that we went out of business. We just shut one down, stood another one up, rebranded as Leads on Demand, and launched an agency the following Monday with our top team. And I went back on the phones generating leads because I had to figure out, how do we do this with a tiny team and punch way above our weight so our clients never know how teeny tiny we actually are. And so, we innovated. We no longer cold called. We drove inbound to ourselves. Our team of 6 people were fast outperforming our former team of 100. And yeah, I know, because we weren't cold calling, we weren't wasting time, and we built an infrastructure to just keep that team performing. And the biggest learning was I went back on the phones and did the job so that I could figure out, where are the friction points and where can we innovate? And so, we figured out email marketing. We incentivized, and I'm talking, this is like 2011. So we see this a lot now where companies are email marketing and offering gift cards to take an action like book a call or take a survey or whatever. That's what we did. We started that. Get an Amazon gift card by taking this survey, telling us your IT needs so that we could cherry pick through the surveys who we would talk to, and then match those leads back up to our clients. And that business was a huge success. I mean, we were on the Inc. 5000 list. They require you to, I think, show growth over the course of 3 years. So in our 4th year, we were number 209 on the Inc. 5000. That was 2015. We were at the very, very top of our game. And our CPA said, you would be this is a cash cow. You'd be crazy to exit this business now. But we exited. We put it on the market. We had an opportunity to take a nice exit. My kids were 7 and 9 at the time, and I'd worked like crazy, and I just wanted some downtime to enjoy. Those years are so short. I just wanted to enjoy them at that age. So we took an exit. It was a nice exit, not a big multiplier, but it's a few $1,000,000. It would set us up for the next few years. And I thought, when my kids are grown, I can come back and do this again. I had this idea for this marketplace back then, but I just wanted to take the time with the kids. So that was 2015. We sold the business, quickly pulled our kids out of school and did world schooling. So we spent 5 years traveling the world, and that became their education. And that was the best time. And, they're 18 and 20 now, and we are so tight as a family. And they grew in so many ways because they got their education by self-led learning in the things that they were interested in. And, we got, I learned history in a way that I never could in school because we went to the places. They're boys. They wanted to study every war. So, World War II, we spent 6 months on World War II, and we went to Hiroshima and Pearl Harbor and Normandy and Germany, and saw it from every perspective. We were on Omaha Beach and Utah Beach and saw what these people experience, and it changes you.
Mm.
And
You just
then,
got that homeschool piece right on in there, huh?
yeah. And it was just,
But to your point, I think this is awesome because to your point, the fact that you were super successful and willing to go, you know what? Yeah, I'm making a ton of money, but I want more time with my kids because I'm not going to be able to get that back.
Yeah.
And now
You can
to
always
be
make more
like,
money.
you can always make more money. And I think that's so hard for people because even with me, I got 10, 8, and 3. And it's very easy to just lock the door, be in here. Come on, I got to make more. But if you're making the money to spend the time with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
You're great though. You bring your kids to, like, you had
I
your
mean,
daughter
I
at the last event.
try, but
Yeah.
that doesn't, even with that, like, there's sometimes some guilt on my part because I'm like, we could just be chilling right now, but I need to go talk to these people. Please hold on. So even for us, but we're about to switch. We've been doing more online school, but I don't like where they're trending. So we're about to go into like pure, like for real homeschool.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people, and this is my next question to you. You just said they're 18 and 20. Now there's this stereotype about how, hey, if you homeschool, your kid's gonna be weird, they're gonna be behind, and all these other things. Yours have gone through it and are now 18 and 20 and in the real world. Your response to that is?
It's just a myth. I mean, I think it's made them more well-rounded. And school is such a contrived environment. I was studious. I did well in school. And I feel like to be a good entrepreneur, I had to unlearn all the stuff that made me a good student in order to be a good entrepreneur. I sort of had to break away from that.
That's literally
And
one of my questions. What is something that you feel like you've had to unlearn? Because, like you said, I'm on business 3. I've learned a lot. I made some bad decisions. Like, what are some of those things you think you had to unlearn? Because you know what they push in school,
yes,
you know what these internet gurus and stuff
yeah.
push now. Like, what are some of these things? I'm so
Oh my
lost.
gosh, there's so much. And I think that's why homeschooling can be such a gift to your kids because school is so contrived. Like you're never in an environment where you're with a cohort of all your age. And so, like, my kids can talk to anyone. They can hang out with a 3-year-old, and they can hang out with a 30-year-old, and they can hang out with an 80-year-old and like just meet them at their level. Um, but for me, what I had to unlearn, I think the biggest thing that I had to really unlearn is that like the conformity that schools like you follow the rules you show up, you do what the teacher says, you do the homework, you conform to whatever those rules are. None of that stuff makes for a standout entrepreneur. And so I think the biggest thing that I've learned in my last business and then especially in this business is what are the rules that we can break? How do we do things so differently? How does everybody else do this thing, like deliver this service? And how do we flip that model on its head, like flip it upside down and do it so differently and break all the rules that we rise above the noise? So I think, school is meant to make students conform and be in a cohort, and it caters to sort of like the the average, maybe the lowest common denominator in the room. Um, and entrepreneurship's the opposite. It's the absolute opposite.
Dang it. Okay. You got to get ready to go. We're going to go rapid fire, quick answer questions.
Okay. Yeah, and
Y'all,
I'm good. I have a little bit more time. I just
See,
texted
y'all,
you.
this is why I love these conversations because not only do you get we didn't have this conversation over like lunch or dinner. We just always end up talking about something, but this is awesome. Okay, rapid fire, quick questions. If I gave you a magic wand today and you could fix one thing, like you go to sleep tonight, you wake up and it's fixed, what is that one thing?
In my business or in the world?
Business.
Okay. Um, well, for me, we're a bootstrap company, right? So if I can wave a magic wand, it would be to have the capital to do all like I have a big vision, and I'm always frustrated by how fast we can only go as fast as our cash flow allows. So we go, and I'm really impatient. So if I could wave a magic wand, I'd have the capital to go full force on this vision faster. And I am getting ready for a Q4 raise. I wanted to prove the model first. So we've spent all year building traction in the software model. When we launch AI agents in the new year, we're no longer going to be human services heavy, which doesn't scale. we're essentially going to convert from SaaS plus heavy services to service as software with the agents. And so we've gone from we were in a beta the previous year with our software, and we came into the new year about 800K ARR. We're in the next 2 weeks, we'll hit 5 million ARR. So I'm at the stage where and part of that is because we had a $5 million agency that we converted. So I don't want to,
Hey, the
inflate
numbers
that.
don't lie.
We had the business there that we converted to the software. But we've got the traction now that I can fundraise. So I am gearing up for a raise so that we can go faster. We wanted to go slow and steady and prove the model. And now I think if I could wave a magic wand, we'd have, 2 million in funding so we could go build all the things that we want to build and get it to market.
Okay, rapid fire. What's one habit or mindset that's helped you stay consistent on this third business, even though things are constantly changing?
God, one is hard. There's so many. I would say coming together with my leadership team. First of all, building a strong leadership team has just been key, and delegating, of course, and having, some time freedom in my calendar to be able to kind of take a zoom out from the business and look at the big picture and stay focused on the vision. So I think in every other business, I've always been really, really, really in the weeds. And in this one, because I want to build it to a big exit, I want a 10x multiplier when we exit. Probably one of the best habits that felt really foreign to me when I first started it was to take a clarity break. I take a couple hours every Friday, not in front of my computer, not working on the business or working in the business, but just zooming out and, it's having ideas, brainstorming, thinking about different ways we can innovate and deliver what we deliver in an unforgettable way. And I think that sometimes, I know for me, I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I'll just get in the weeds of the business. It's been a real eye opener to just take intentional time and zoom out and think about things from the customer's perspective. Where can we remove friction? Where can we deliver this in an unforgettable way? So that's one habit that's pretty new to me. I've never done that before. And then, just our pulses, like our weekly pulse with our meetings, and quarterly pulse and annual to set. We run on EOS. So we set our quarterly objectives, and then everything in the business aligns to that. So every role is aligned to moving the needle forward on those things. And it's really allowed us to every quarter see movement.
All right.
I would say those two things.
Last question. If you could go back in time and you only had 30 seconds and everything right to the second, but you're going back in time to 18 or 22-year-old you, what are you telling yourself?
Don't stress so much. Chill out. Relax. It'll all work out. Do the hard things. Don't let fear stop you. Confidence will come by doing the things. So go ahead and do the scary things with a lack of confidence, because doing the thing builds the confidence that builds you up. So yeah, just stop sweating, stop worrying, trust the journey. It'll all be okay.
Here we go. All right, this is your chance. If somebody wants to reach out to you, work with you, get on the software and the platform, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the platform is technologymatch.com. If they want to reach out to me directly, LinkedIn is the best place to do that.
Okay. And by the way, her last name is spelled Turrell. Don't mess up her last name.
Thank you. Yeah,
all right.
Tonya,
So with that being said, we could have gone to a lot more tips on how to work with your spouse, more stuff on homeschooling. What was that like? Maybe we can get her back for a second episode, but y'all,
that would be fun. I'd love that.
I'm going to see you in a month anyway.
Yes.
Okay, we will talk. All right, y'all. So these are the type of people we're bringing. You heard it from somebody who's done it. not just exited one company, but it's exited twice. The things she's learned from it, how she was able to still have enough wisdom to say, hey, I can pause, spend more time with my family, still be working while we're traveling and having a great, like all of these things are possible, especially if you're a woman-led business. So with that being said, make sure you guys connect with her. Tell her what you loved about what she shared in this episode. We'll put all those links in the comments. Until next time, y'all take care of yourselves. Peace out.